I think I've seen some cases of like managed IT providers looking to assist those organizations seeking certification with the CMMC effort. And I think there's a large variety of understanding and what the requirements are and how they apply and how to satisfy the requirements. So a super easy one that leadership could ask of their implementers or consultants is, do you understand what an assessment objective is? Because NIST SP 171 has 110 controls, but there are assessment objectives associated with each control that must be met in order for the control to be considered implemented, sufficiently implemented. So if your consultant doesn't have an understanding of the NIST SP 171A assessment guide or the CMMC assessment guide, and knowing what the implications of an assessment objective are, that can be a bit of a red flag. The other thing is your current requirement as of right now, it's October 31st, current requirement to be compliant is to upload your self-assessment score to the supplier performance risk system. Recently on a CMMC town hall, there was talk about scores that had been uploaded and the fact that the scores that were uploaded might be artificially high. For whatever reason, whether it's a misunderstanding of the self-assessment process or falsely stating a score. In my experience with the pre-assessment readiness that I've done, I really haven't seen any positive scores. So if you are like many of the small to mid-sized business manufacturers, DIB companies, what have you out there, and you're whoever has done your assessment for you has come up with a positive score, I would rethink that and do we have a true understanding of the assessment process?
But one thing I think that's kind of been a blaring issue that I've seen, which I haven't really seen any clear answers on, is you mentioned a lot of these companies are managed by a managed service provider, and it's pretty rare to see an MSP themselves either one, be CMMC compliant or even NIST 800-171. Occasionally you'll see SOC compliance to some degree. So I'm curious, where do you see the direction of CMMC going? It's obviously it's going through some iterations. It seems like there's still a lot of gray area.
Yeah, currently, so we're awaiting rulemaking, but there's the CMMC scoping guide that outlines various assets that influence your relationship with CUI. And so your managed provider, your managed security service provider would fall into the asset category of a security protection asset, and they themselves are to be assessed against CMMC practices. So I don't know exactly where that's going to shake out, but early on there was some talk of your MSP requiring a CMMC certification. And so that still might be the case. I think ultimately you are going, your provider will have to be able to attest to a certain degree. What I think it will mean is I think that some providers will just like the DIB companies, the OSCs that are pursuing CMMC for competitive reasons. I think you'll see managed providers or security providers do the same thing. They'll say, yes, we can support those that have DFARS 252, 204, 7012 requirements, CMMC requirements, and whatnot. So I think that's what that will ultimately be. But I'm kind of awaiting rulemaking a little bit too before I say go and do this or go do that. But start preparing. If you're an MSP and you support those companies, I would say start preparing. Take a look at NIST and see where you stack up.